Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first ever episode of the 501st podcast. Oh, it's been a long time coming. I'm Carl, and as you can see, I've got Adam here. He's the
Hello, everyone.
co-host. It's been a while, Adam. It's been how long we've been talking about doing this?
It's been a very long time, Carl. Very, very long time since I started covering over at the shop. And
Which
that was
were
like
which
summer last year, wasn't it?
something
Or
like
near
that.
one. Yeah, near
Something
one.
like that. It's been over a year. No, I think you're about this time. I think it
You
was
know what?
pretty close.
Yeah.
So if you don't know, so obviously you won't know. So me and Adam, we both work together. We both work at Game. And I first met Adam. Oof. So I was worried. Obviously, I'm a bit like new people, not a fan. So when I was told we lost some staff members, so I was told someone's going to come over and cover. Adam walks in and he's just kitted out in Star Wars content, and I'm like, we're going to get on like an house on fire. And lo and behold, 1 year later, and it's all fucking gravy. It is. So yeah, I was very happy. So that's that. So and then think about a month in, we started talking about doing it,
Yeah.
and then about a year later, finally,
Finally got around to doing it.
yeah.
And cracks on
So,
it.
but yeah, so I'm happy. So I mean, maybe we should give some light on the name. We're not just a Star Wars podcast.
Yeah.
That name, it took us finding a name for a podcast is so hard to do. It is because it's like, what's the word? It's like,
a needle in a haystack.
yeah,
You've really got to like figure it out to sort of make sure that you're covering everything that you want to cover in your podcast.
yeah. And I think 501st does it justice. Is it shows how big of Star Wars fans we are, but it also it can branch off into other media, stuff like that. So I'm happy with the name. I am. Hopefully everybody likes it. Just I don't know. What should we just tell them a little bit about what the channel is going to be and stuff like that? Obviously, this first episode is going to be a bit, but we will start doing like content creation on like God, I can't even get my words out now. Jesus Christ. On trailer reactions, movie reviews, even if we get to a point where we start doing watch-alongs and stuff like that. I know Adam's down for the watch-alongs, he keeps saying.
All the way.
And Adam is your resident toy collector. My man knows what he's on about. So if you've got questions, he's your man. Wait, that way. He's over there. You know what's weird? So on this setup, I used to always be on the other side. So doing that is but now it's this one. So you're that way. You're that way, and I'm this way. So so we both love Star Wars like more than I think I thought I loved Star Wars, but Adam takes it to a whole new level. Like genuinely, it is mental. So I want to know how did you get into Star Wars, Adam?
So basically, when I was roughly, I think it was about 5 or 6, my auntie introduced me to the originals, and that was it. Then she'd sit me in front of the TV, we'd watch it together, and that would be it. And that is literally what all of a sudden just drew my attention. And ever since then, it was something that I was like religiously sort of watching.
Yeah.
And after that, like I said, then once the prequels came out, it was then like, oh, okay. And obviously I was a little bit older by then, so it was like,
Yeah.
Go and see him, and I was like, oh my god, I absolutely love it.
So
and then I was then got addicted.
Addicted. So
Bad.
at least you got that, because I don't know how I feel about this. You know, the whole like, obviously the generation of kids now that get into Star Wars tend to watch the prequels first.
Yeah.
And then watch the originals, and I'm like,
yeah,
I think that takes something away from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's obviously the originals. Obviously, is how it's all started, like from the very, very beginning, from when George started it off, and obviously you see what it's transformed from to.
Yeah.
Like from obviously your originals to the sequels, and obviously and everything in between it and whatnot.
But I can
Yeah,
get as I don't know. So me personally, as much as I love A New Hope, but
yeah,
so when we were kids, A New Hope was. I mean, obviously it was out obviously before we were born and what have you, but
yeah, yeah.
it was still revolutionary in like science fiction when we were
Oh yeah,
young and kids. Do you know what I mean? It was still some of the
yeah,
best
exactly.
sci-fi you were going to get out there. But
Oh yeah,
nowadays, to people to like just jump into Star Wars, is A New Hope really the one to get you started? Because I feel like it's not flashy. The lightsaber fights are a bit
yeah,
slow and tacky. Do you know, the story's great and everything. Don't get me wrong,
yeah,
but that's what worries me now. It's
yeah.
like you can't really get somebody into Star Wars by going watch A New Hope. Do you know what I mean? But
Exactly. Yeah,
then at the same time, it's like you don't watch A New Hope, then Empire. You don't learn. You don't get the impact of I
yeah,
am your
exactly.
father. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I think because the way we grew up watching it, like the originals first, then the prequels, like obviously we were like, oh my god, who's Vader? Who the hell is he? Like, why is he his father? Like,
yeah,
who did he have a relation? Who did Vader have a relationship to have a kid with? Like, there's
yeah,
no female character in on the dark with the Empire or the dark side. So it's like, who did he have a relationship with to conceive to even have these two kids? So
yeah.
then obviously when we jump into watching prequels, we're like, oh my god, that's Anakin. And then obviously one thing leads to another, and we're like, when you get to Revenge of the Sith, you're like, oh my god,
Do
that's
you
Darth Vader.
still watch Revenge? You know when you watch Revenge at Sith, yeah.
Yeah.
You know the scene where he turns to the dark side, where he chops.
Oh my god,
Do
yeah.
you every time I watch that scene, I hope and pray that I've got some kind of dodgy copy that doesn't happen,
Yes,
and he doesn't
every
turn to the
time.
dark side.
Every
I
time.
still hope and pray. I'm like, don't do it, Anakin. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't
I
do it.
know.
Don't do
It,
it.
as much as it makes canonical sense and for everything to all tie in, it all makes sense. But every time I watch it, I'm exactly the same day in, day
It's
out. No matter
weird.
how many times I watch it, I'm like, please don't do it. Please, please.
Yeah.
I know it's coming, but don't. Please, I beg of you. I
I
love you as
just
a character.
I just hope and pray that somehow someone's gone back in time and told George Lucas not to do it.
Don't
And
do it, George.
do you know what I mean? And somehow the times have changed, and mysteriously all
Yeah,
these copies of Star Wars have changed, and there's a whole new film that we're gonna get instead. But it always happens, and I'm always disappointed. But then at the same time, it's
yeah,
like if he doesn't do that, then you don't get like
yeah. You don't get
you don't get future Star Wars. Do you know what I mean? Because well, you probably
exactly,
do, but it's
exactly.
probably very different. And I mean,
Yeah, it'd be different to what we've got.
and I feel like Star Wars was precedented on. I know A New Hope was amazing, but I mean the culture shock of everybody. I mean, my mum says obviously when she were about when it first come out, you know, when
Yeah,
Vader turns around and says, "I am your father," everybody just lost their shit. Do you know what I mean? It was like the best kept secret that had ever happened ever in movie history. I would love to like because for me, I'm kind of the same. My dad sat me down and I watched Star Wars, and then that were it. It were it were game over from then. But then to say that as well, like for us as kids, we had what 3 Star Wars films,
yeah,
The Ewoks film, and fucking Caravan of Courage. Like the kids these days are spoilt with Star Wars content, mate. Like we had to sit and dream about the shit that we were getting. Do you know what I mean? Imagine waking up every morning
yeah.
when you were a kid and having a Clone Wars episode to watch.
Exactly.
Like we were just like this is another thing fantasizing about it. Like I always fantasized about seeing 30, 40 Jedi all at once and
Oh,
fighting, and then that's why I love episode 2 so much. Like
yeah,
in the scene in the Colosseum when all the lightsabers just turn on, like absolute that is childhood for me coming true.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? And I think I were probably 13, 14 when Attack at Clone comes. So I was still a kid, do you know what I mean? But still, at the same time, I was like, that is what I'd always wanted. I don't know if you
yeah.
remember you remember X-Men, the cartoon.
Yes, I do. Yeah,
So you know the scene, the intro music where it's like,
yeah,
and then at the end, the mutants are running at the fucking
yeah,
X-Men,
yeah.
and they clash
Oh
together.
yes, Sith and the Jedi doing
Yeah,
that.
I've always
Oh
wanted
my
to see that
god!
as a Star
Yes.
Wars like kind of thing, and
That would have been sick.
then to see that happening, because I think it was in the Knights of the Old Republic trailers where it
Yeah,
actually happens.
well,
You're like, oh
yeah.
my fucking god!
Yes, sick. Give me that, please, in
Nah,
animation.
yeah, give it now.
Give it to me. Give
Like,
it to me. I want it
I
now.
empty my wallet. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly, mate. Exactly. Yeah.
So as you can tell, we are massive Star Wars fans, but we will talk about other things on the like just general movies in general. I don't know if we're gonna separate some stuff into like Star Wars only episodes and stuff like that, but for now we're just trying to get a podcast out there. There is a few stuff that's happened in the last week or so. I mean, obviously But I didn't go to the cinema to watch Black Panther.
No.
I think it's the only Marvel film that I've not been to the cinema to see.
I think there's been a few for me that I haven't been. I can't remember what they are. I think it's been one or two that it's just one of those films where it wasn't anything to do with the character or anything like that. I just wasn't really bothered about watching it. Like, I enjoyed the first one, and I just wanted. I don't know. It's just one of those where I just wasn't really fussed about it.
I think for me, it's the lack of, and this, I don't want this to sound disrespectful to anybody that's doing it now, but it's the lack of Chadwick Boseman for me.
Yeah.
You know, to me now, I know he only did what was he in Endgame, Civil War, Black Panther. Were he in Infinity War? So we're only in 5 films, really. But for me, he was Black Panther. Do you know what I mean now? And then going to a Black Panther where he's not I don't want it to sound, but the only way I was really happy with it, and I don't think Shuri's a bad Black Panther by any means at all, but I wanted what's his name, Killmonger back. Just find some way to bring him back and him be Black Panther. That to me is the better way. And I don't know if you got. I don't want to, because I know you've not finished it, so I don't want to spoil anything for you. But it's.
The last bit I got to was Shuri was in Neymar's.
Oh, so she'd already gone down. So yeah, so you've not got to the point yet, which is there's something comes up that's really cool. Obviously, like I say, I don't want to spoil it for you, but to me, the film's good. I really enjoyed it. It is you can tell it's a film to pay homage to Chadwick Boseman, and that's pretty much it. I feel like Ryan Coogler, the director, has kind of gone, you're only going to watch this film once. Like, it's not a Marvel film that I'm going to sit there and go, I'm going to watch that again. Do you know what I mean? And I've found that with a lot with recent Marvel films, like Phase 1, Phase 2, and even Phase 3. I've watched. There's some films that are like Doctor Strange 1, I've only ever seen once, and I'm not ever bothered about watching it again. But stuff like Guardians of the Galaxy, I watch that all the time because it's that good. Same as like Iron Man. I mean, I like Iron Man 2. A lot of people hate on that film, but I like that film a lot. I personally I think it's better than 1, personally.
My issue with a lot of the MCU stuff is, I don't know. I just seem to feel that because I'm a huge X-Men fan, so I would rather sit back and just watch X-Men all day. Like, give me like the whole Remy LeBeau thing. Like, he should have had his own movie from the get. I change the subject slightly, but Remy LeBeau should have had a movie easily.
Well, I mean, this is where you need to be excited for future MCU products, because I'm not being funny. The mutants get mentioned again in Black Panther. So Namor mentions that he's a mutant. He doesn't say that he's. What did they call him before? What were they called? Can't remember what they had a certain name for mutants, and they weren't called mutants in the MCU, and I can't remember what they called them. Like Scarlet Witch was classed as something, she'd call herself something, I can't remember what it was. And then all of a sudden they've bought Fox, and now they're dropping the mutant name all the time. I think it's twice now we've had the mutant name. So, and Namor drops he says that he's the first ever mutant or something like that. So I would.
Yeah, because he's quite old, isn't he?
Yeah, so I would if we all know X-Men's coming. It's
well, Deadpool is a bit of a massive giveaway for that
Yeah,
as well. I think
Deadpool 3 with
initially,
Wolverine, like it's
massive.
and we've had what's his name in there as well, Professor X. So it's it's clearly coming.
Just dribs and drabs.
See, this is the thing with this new, this last phase that we had between Endgame and between now. I think everybody's like, because Endgame was so explosive and out there, and
Yeah,
it was the culmination of what, 20 films? Were it 20, 21 films, something like that?
yeah,
I think everybody expected it go Endgame and then it still be up here. Whereas what we forget is, like, Iron Man 1, 2, and 3, phase 1, didn't have all these crossovers and blah, blah, blah. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
exactly.
And so I think we've come to expect too much from stuff, if that makes sense, and not realise that we've got to drop the bar again for it to come back up. And it's not like the bar's dropping crazily. I mean,
It's introducing new characters to us as well,
yeah,
so we've got to expect, because obviously characters are dying out. Like obviously Iron Man, apart from obviously I'm not sure if you heard, but there was a little rumor the other day. I think it was on Twitter. I saw it, and apparently Iron Man's going to be in. Iron Man's going to be in Ant-Man, but I don't see how. Like it wouldn't make any sense personally, but
but the
again,
quantum realm,
yeah, they've got
it's
yeah. But again,
I sorry, go on. I just think that bringing back like Tony Stark or even Captain America at this point takes away the impact of what Endgame did.
Yeah, and it takes away their death scenes. Like the reason why they did that was so that it had such an impact on the character
Yeah,
itself.
I think the closure is just it's there. Do you know what I mean? And I think we have to just accept that now we have to run with this future, a lot of MCU, and I think that is part of the problem, that you don't have a Tony Stark. Well, you don't have a Robert Downey Jr. or a Chris Evans that's to carry your films. I mean, I think Chris Hemsworth can do it with Thor, but the problem was the last Thor wasn't as good as everybody thought it was going to be, if that makes sense. But again, is that because Ragnarok is that good?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, if Ragnarok's not a film, is Love and Thunder just a great film? Do you know what I mean? But is Ragnarok just incredible?
I mean, doesn't Chris Hemsworth only have like one or two last movies left?
I don't think he's got many. But saying that, so did Samuel L. Jackson. Only had 2 left in what was it in? Was it not? It weren't Civil War. I think it was Winter Soldier. He had like 3 appearances left, and he's been in about 6 films since then. And he's got Secret Wars coming out as well. So I think you get to a point where you end up with your contract, and I think you get to a point where that character is so important that you don't need contracts for appearances at this point. You just go, will you be in this film? And they kind of go, yeah. Because I don't want to say where would they be without these films, but I'm sure they'd be doing perfectly fine.
Yeah, exactly.
But this franchise is the thing that's propelled people to the heights that they've been propelled to. What were Chris Evans doing before Captain America? It was Johnny Storm in Fantastic Four, and that didn't go too great. Where you get what I mean? Robert Downey Jr., where were he before Iron Man? Not many people were touching him after his past. Which is, do you get what I mean? So these are things that have propelled you to a point. Yeah. So I feel like if me in person, like if I was Chris Hemsworth and my contracts had run out, and I don't know, Ryan Coogler phoned me and went, "Will you just be in a cutscene in fucking Black Panther?" I'd be like, "Yeah." How much are we getting paid? But yeah. So kind of like that. Henry Cavill thing, because didn't he leave like Witcher to go and do that Superman? I think he like flew somewhere to do that Black Adam cutscene, and then obviously went back to Witcher. Then they went, "Oh, you're gonna be Superman again," and he was like, "Yeah, I'll quit Witcher." "Oh, you're not Superman anymore, so you've not got Witcher and you've not got Superman anymore."
Brilliant. Good on DC.
Well done. I mean, that's a couple of things that actually got announced this week, to be fair. 2 seconds. I've been hella prepared and not put my headphones on charge. So that's a couple of things that actually got announced this week. The DC stuff.
Yes, they were rebooting it, wasn't they?
Yeah. Sounds mad. It does. Let me find it.
I'm excited for it. But obviously there was the whole what's his name? Matt Reeves' Batman. That's obviously been announced on it for
Yeah,
the
so they
second one.
announced second one of that. They announced Superman, I think it were.
Yes, I think it's called Superman Legacy as well. So I
That's
think it's
yeah.
literally from the very rock bottom to how he. I think it's basically Kal-El. I'm hoping it's Kal-El, from Krypton, and then
Yeah.
obviously when it comes to Earth. But again,
do you feel like it's gonna have that? Like the picture they shown when he was doing the press conference thing was like a golden age Superman. It were, with the crazy S on the front. I can't find the image. I can't find the image of everything that they got announced. But there was stuff like Amanda Waller TV show.
Yes, with thingy Viola Davis.
Yeah.
Coming back, and that's what I like about James Gunn when he announced it. It said that what he wants now is for the DCU to basically they can start fresh, and what any of the new stuff. Say like they have man what's the face Viola Davis come back as Amanda Waller. If she then ends up in another Suicide Squad, and then she ends up in a TV show somewhere down the line, and then up in the Peacemaker show, for example, it's going to be he wants the same actress playing her all the way.
Is that viable? Is someone as
I think personally, if they're gonna do that, they need to get young people in now. I think scrap any without sounding horrible or ageist or anything like that. You need to get young people in so they can have the time then. So they have time to do it. Like, don't get me wrong, having the more experienced people in is going to be solid. It's going to be amazing no matter what. But I think it won't be viable doing multiple projects with that person because you don't know what's going to happen from day to day.
No, I agree. So my worry is someone that's big. So, for instance, I don't know. Let's take Jason Momoa because he's staying as Aquaman. I think there were two that they were staying when they were Jason Momoa and Shazam that were staying in the DCE. Let's take Jason Momoa for instance. Is he going to be Aquaman? So you phone out Jason Momoa and go, "Oh, there's a Justice League game coming out. I need you to voice Aquaman." Is he really going to do that? Hence why it doesn't happen in the Marvel universe, for instance, like the Avengers game. And I always stated that the Avengers, they needed to spend the money and actually get like Robert Downey Jr. to do the voiceover and stuff like that. It's a good premise, and I applaud what they're trying to do and have everything cross over into each other. I love the premise, but is it going to happen? That's the question.
Yeah, it is a struggle. Like I say, it's the whole point of if you're getting someone that's like a real AAA actor. So, example again, Jason Momoa. Like, don't have nothing wrong with the guy. He's an absolute solid actor. Love him as Aquaman. Absolutely love him. And I'm so happy that DC did that. But again, like you say, the only time I would think they would even take that opportunity is if obviously that character then dies, and then obviously they're voicing him in a video game that then ties in somewhere else. But then they're gonna have to they're gonna have to get with the game developers and say, look, we need this game finished by such and such a date so that it's in time for this movie, so that it all makes canonical sense.
Yep.
And again, it's just not viable, no matter who you are. Getting stuff done like that, video games take a long time to make. I mean, prime example, look at not Black Flag, the PS5.
Oh, Skull and Bones.
Skull and Bones. Look how long that's took to
Well,
get released.
I mean, there's another one that we're going to actually. There's one that we're actually going to talk about a little bit later on. That's been the same thing. Like, and like you say, this is my argument. Is I think actors have realised that TV makes sense now. That TV is not just a B star actor. TV shows can be up there with movies, and probably some TV shows are better than some of these AAA movies that are coming out these days. So I don't think TV is the hard one to get like a AAA star to appear in now. I think it. Yeah.
Peacemaker.
Peacemaker, yeah. I mean, the actors didn't really show up as Justice League,
No.
but again, I think stuff like Game of Thrones, the new. I mean, we're going to talk about it again in a bit. Last of Us. Been plenty of TV shows now that have been that great that they like rival actual TV show, actual movies. Like money that's being spent on TV shows these days is ridiculous. Like the new Lord of the Rings plot and stuff like that. You get what I mean? So I don't think a AAA actor that is a movie star, let's say, because back in the day you'd have B-list actors that would be TV show actors, and then you'd have your A-listers, which were movie stars. So I don't think it's unviable to get them to go into a TV show now. I think the hard part is going to be getting them into these animation TV shows. So, like, for instance, I can't remember the one. It's the Suicide Squad animation. I can't remember the name of the show that they're doing. The one with Weasel in it and things like that. But when you need to do them crossovers, is a Jason Momoa? I'm not saying that he's going to be in it, but I'm using him as an example. Is he going to go and do an animation TV show? Is he going to go and do a video game? So it's a tough one. I hope it works, because I think it'll be amazing if it does work. But me personally, at this moment in time, I think the video games side of it is what is going to struggle with it. I think stuff like Suicide Squad, because that's not even come out. Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. Is that part of the DCEU? Like, I know Gotham Knights is probably not now, because that's already out. But this Suicide Squad one, is that? I don't know. I'm excited to see what DC do though. Like, it sounds. I think they've got someone good in James Gunn.
Yeah, he's a good guy to push him in the right direction.
Yeah.
Because obviously what he's done with Guardians, what he's done with... What did he do? He did something in DC, hadn't he?
He did Suicide Squad and Peacemaker.
Yeah, and like those two, one, that movie and that show, both did really well.
Oh, yeah. Peacemaker was my top TV show of last year. I cannot explain how good Peacemaker was. It was incredible. But then my worry is they were very much James Gunn TV shows. Well, they were very much James Gunn, if that makes sense. The comedy, my worry there is, does he put that stamp on everything? Because Batman
it won't suit Batman.
As much as they've announced Batman, the Batman is Elseworlds, because they've announced that stuff like Batman and Joker will be labelled and clearly be labelled as Elseworlds.
Yeah.
So they're not actually part of the DCEU. So, obviously we have a new Batman coming in that is going to be part of the DCEU. But is it going to be... Are all these films going to have this James Gunn touch on it because he's the producer of it all? Or... Do you get what I mean? Is something like a Superman or a Batman going to be a bit more serious, and a Suicide Squad be your Guardians of the Galaxy? If that makes sense.
I would hope that's the way that he's going to go, that they're going to go down with it, because again, like I say, Batman's like, to me anyway, Batman's more of a serious sort of like character. He's not like anyone that jokes about, he's got any comedy value to him. Don't get me wrong, Superman, he might have a little bit of comedy, but again, it's very, very minimal. It's again another character that's taken very seriously. Same with, again, Wonder Woman, if anything happens with her at all, and Aquaman. The only other character really that I can even think of that's going to be remotely suited for James Gunn is Shazam. How amusing the first one was.
I love Shazam one. Yeah, I love the Shazam one.
He got so much hate, and I don't understand why.
I don't either.
The casting was absolute solid. I thought the movie was amazing, and then that little bit at the end.
Oh, the little bit at the end was incredible. Like Shazam, but I think that's why he's kept Shazam. I do. I think that's why he's kept it. So yeah, it's like I think that's why Shazam has been kept, for the fact that it fits James Gunn's narrative and style that he's been going for. So yeah, but we'll see. we'll see how the DCEU pans out. I hope it works because the last stuff that what we had, Wonder Woman 1, which was incredible.
Yeah.
To then go to the bag of shit that was Wonder Woman fucking 1984. I don't know how the quality dropped so much. Genuinely, probably the worst superhero film I've ever seen. I would rather watch Green Lantern than Wonder Woman 1984.
That was something they announced.
Lanterns, yeah, lanterns. Because they announced that. I remember 10 years ago, Kevin Smith doing an announcement and announcing a Green Lanterns. It was called Lantern Corps film. And that was the one that I was hyped for because the Green Lantern stuff is what, like, that gets me, yeah, that the lore behind it all, and seeing red lanterns, fucking blue lanterns, yellow lanterns, fucking pink lanterns, everything sounds incredible. So I hope it's great, I do. Yeah, I remember announcing that years ago. I do. But then they announced Flash at the same time, and we've still not got that, which is mind-boggling that Ezra Miller has still fucking got his job.
So, I read something the other day that they have no intentions on getting rid of him.
Mental.
So, I mean, considering what he's done, like, this film should be it. I mean, I don't agree with obviously scrapping the film because then look at everybody that's wasted their time that could have been doing something else for a project.
Yeah.
100% get this movie out, see how well it does. If it does great, brilliant. Just then, don't give him another movie. So you could easily turn that round and call it Elseworlds.
I mean, so I think the problem is the Flash is the one character
that everyone loves.
Well, not that ties this whole reboot together with the the changing, they're going in past and changing timelines and things like that. So I think that's the reason they keep the Flash. But then at the same time, when all this shit with Johnny Depp and fucking Amber Heard comes out, Warner Brothers are the company that are like, oh, we're standing by Amber Heard, she's going to be in Aquaman 2 and all this shit. And it's like, I mean, and Disney are like, no, fuck Johnny Depp off. And then it turns round that Johnny Depp's like, he's done fuck all wrong. And she's the fucking idiot. And she's the one that's done everything, and they're still like, yeah, it's fucking fine. It's Amber Heard, isn't it? I'll have 20 mil. Mental. Yeah, like, but if it's Johnny Depp, Bosch, fucking Disney are like, nope, you're never having anything to do with Pirates of the Caribbean ever again. And then when he's been fucking cleared of it all, they're still like, no. Mental, absolute mental. Warner Brothers just seems to be run by idiots. It does.
Yeah, like, this is why this whole James Gunn thing, I'm so happy that he's taken over, because he was just going in such a shit way, DC. Like, there's just no competition for Marvel. And I think now they've got James, I think it's going to be a different scenario.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'll give him a bit of a run for the money.
To me, Warner Brothers always seemed like it was like, so prime example was Batman v Superman. So Man of Steel comes out, right? It does incredibly well. It's a great film. Yeah. I don't think it's amazing, as good as people make out, but I like the film.
Yeah.
So now you need the momentum, yeah? You've got Superman, it does rate well. All the Warner Brother execs are sat around a table and they go, right, how do we capitalise on Man of Steel? And one guy just goes, Batman. And then they go, yeah, we'll make a Batman v Superman film. Because that's the way to go. We'll not build anything up like Marvel have been doing for the last fucking 10 years. I know what we'll do. How do we build Batman Justice League? Let's just make it in like next 5 years. We'll do the complete opposite of what Marvel Studios have done, and slowly build a storyline up and then have this amazing film in 7 years time where you finally get to see them all on screen. Now we'll just make a fucking Justice League film straight off at bat, because that's what Batman v Superman is. You've got Batman, Superman and Wonder Woman in there all at the same time. And if they'd have got the way, fucking Martian Manhunter would have been in there as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's like they've just... I feel like the problem with DC is they've seen the success of Marvel, and then they've wanted to recreate that success so quickly, whereas what they forget is Marvel put in the legwork first. Like the risk of Iron Man was so high. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was a B character that nobody really cared about. Do you know what I mean? And then now Iron Man's as big as your Batmans and your Supermans. You know what I mean? So. You know, it's a risk that they took and it paid off. Whereas DC were just like, well, we've got Batman and we've got Superman. Let's fucking do it. It's a sure success. Well, it's not, you know.
Clearly not.
I mean, Batman, the original Batman and Batman Returns, incredible films. Batman and Robin, Batman Forever, not that great. I don't think Batman Begins. And at the fact that I think that the fact that you've had so many Batman films in the last... If I see Batman's parents die once more, I'm going to kill my son. I am.
Like,
I've seen them die more than I have fucking Uncle Ben. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we've had that many Spider-Man films.
But just think, you count how many times you've seen that Batman origin story. So you've had it in the original Batman, yeah?
Yeah.
You've had it in the Christian Bale Batmans, Lego Batman, you saw it. You even saw it in Batman v Superman, yeah?
Yeah.
That's 4 off at the top of my head. Do you get, like...
Yeah.
Fucking that's mental. Like, I don't want to see him die again. Hence why Spider-Man went, oh, you know, when we reboot Spider-Man, we're just going to be like, he's Spider-Man. We don't need an origin story again. Like, I'm fed up of seeing... Oh, and then we've seen it again in fucking the new fucking Chris Reeves. In Gotham, you saw it.
Gotham.
The new Batman that's just come out. That's 6.
6 origin stories that we don't need. We understand he's Batman. We understand his parents have died.
Just start the film. He's Batman.
Just give us the film. Yeah, here you go. Here's Batman.
It's not that hard. We know how he comes Batman. It's fucking stupid. Well, it is on.
We don't.
Right. Anyway, we fucking went on a mad. I went on a mad tangent there about fucking Batman and his parents. That's how much it pisses me off. It does. So obviously we were talking about video games and stuff being put back. There's a game coming out next week. I don't know how you feel about it. And I know the internet are going fucking crazy about it. And apparently you're a fucking transphobe and everything if you fucking play this video game. But Hogwarts finally coming out. Are you buying it?
I mean, two thoughts about it. Like, admittedly, when I was when I was growing up, Harry Potter was the thing. I was really into it, and I'd go to cinema school and watch it. I would love it. But no, it's one of those where it's like, well, I'm not bothered. It's not my sort of game. It's not my IP that I would usually go for. Like we've said, my IP is Star Wars. Like, shove me in anything Star Wars, and I'd be like, yeah, that's it. I'll buy that straight off the bat. Like, I bought a collector's edition and stuff in not Old Republic, Knights of the Old Republic for the Switch. Like,
yeah, I know, right? You fucking mental, you.
So, like, at that point, I'm not bothered. I mean, I say I'm not bothered. I probably will end up getting it, but I'm not gonna get it straight away. It's just that it's not something I enjoy anymore.
See, I'm on the fence. I'm like you. I'm on the fence. So, I think personally, I think everyone's getting their hype up for this game.
Yeah.
And my view on it is, it's a game that's been put back 3 times in space of 1 year. Let's not talk about the years before that it got put back as well. So I think it's like 4 or 5 times that it's had different release dates. Yeah. It's been put back that many times. We was told it was coming with multiplayer, which was the one thing that, for me, was like, hang on. As much as I don't like Harry Potter, I love multiplayer games. So as long as I'm playing with my friends, it kind of doesn't matter what the game is, as long as I can have fun with my friends. Do you know what I mean? So to me, it was like, right, well, I don't love Harry Potter, but everybody that I'm going to be playing this with loves Harry Potter. So it kind of gives me more of a, let's jump into it. But they took that away. So now you've got a game that's been delayed 3 times with 50% of the content ripped out of it. There's only something like 36 spells in the game. For a game that's about wizards, do you know how many there is in Elden Ring?
So Chris was telling me this. Is there something like
108 or something?
Yeah, I know it's in the triple digits, but when he told me that the other day, I was like, "Yo, that's mad! Like, that's
So
more of a wizard game than what
yeah,
this
so
would."
for a game that is literally about wizards that use magic and spells, there's 38, right? That's mental. Now everybody keeps saying, and I'm going to use Elden Ring and Hogwarts as a comparison again. Everyone keeps saying, "Oh, but it's going to look pretty," right? But it's all well and good looking pretty. Don't get me wrong. But when the world just feels empty, what's the point? And that is my gripe with Elden Ring. Is at the beginning of Elden Ring, there's a lot of nothingness. You know, you're riding around and there's not much there. Do you know what I mean? You'll go into like a massive field and one little fucking skeleton or a wolf pops out. Like, so again, that's with Hogwarts is it can look as good as it wants, but it's all substance at that point. If there's nothing to do, what's the point?
It's just gonna be pointless. I mean, and going back to the point, like stuff that's being taken off, it's like they said that Quidditch was going to be a thing. Then
No
they said it
Quidditch.
wasn't. Then they said it was, and now they're going back to saying it isn't. So it's like, what is it? Because like the last time I heard it, I got told. I think it was again. It was on Twitter, and somebody had put out saying that it was something like it was an unlockable thing. Why would it be an unlockable thing?
Makes
Why?
no
Why
sense
would you
whatsoever.
want to unlock Quidditch? It
Yeah.
should be an option you
You
get.
should just be able to play Quidditch. That's like going, I've bought FIFA, you've got to unlock football.
Exactly. Just defeats the objective. Like,
that's
at least
mental.
give us something, considering it's a wizard game where you've only got 30 odd spells and shit, and you can't do anything else. It's like, well, what the hell?
I think what I'm going to do with Harry Potter is I'm going to wait. I'm going to see. So people keep saying to me, well, I feel like I don't want the game to fail. I want the game to come out and I want it to be the greatest thing that's ever been played. Because if it's a great game, I'll buy it.
Well, the thing is, we haven't had a Harry Potter game in God knows how long. It's
yeah.
a good Harry Potter game.
I mean, I'm not massive into Harry Potter personally, but I will play a good game for it being a good game. I will never into Witcher. Witcher's now one of my top 3 games of all time. Well, top 5 games of all time. Fucking love Witcher 3. But when it came out, I was like, no. Same as Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter, I was like, I'm not buying that. Fuck that. It came out, everybody at work were like, fucking Monster Hunter's incredible, you should get it. I got it, I put nearly fucking 2,000 hours into it. I'm not going to shy away from buying a game for it being a good game. And I'm not going to shy away by saying I'll jump on a hype train. I will, because it's clearly good for a reason. I don't get this hype train thing. You're clearly playing it because it's good. It's like going to watch a film. Everyone's hype beasting it. Well, clearly, it's fucking good. It makes no sense as to why you wouldn't, So, and I would buy it, if I can also see a game for kind of like if it's not. I look at the value, like if I'm buying 30 quid and it were okay, then yeah, like Gotham Knights, for instance, like I bought that game at 60. Were it 59.99 or 69? I think it was 69.99. I bought that at 70 quid. It were all right. If I'd have bought it at 30 quid, it would have been amazing. Because value for money there is, if I'd have bought it at 30 quid, I'd have been a bit more like, fucking hell, 30 quid, that will bang on. You know what I mean? But for 70, I was like, do you get what I mean? So if I'm buying Harry Potter at 30 quid and it's not the greatest quality of games, but I can see a difference in 30 and 70 quid. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if I go on CD keys on day and it's 30 quid, I'll buy it,
Oh, yeah, 100% at that point, yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't know. I'm a bit worried about Harry Potter. I think we're going to have a lot. All I'll say is it's me and you working that Friday, I think. No, it's not. Me and Chris working the Friday. And I'll be recording the next episode of this podcast when I get home from work. So I might be in a shit mood from a lot of people coming back going, this game's fucking shit, blah, 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 blah. So just wait for that.
Oh yeah, because she'll get everyone that's got the deluxe edition, play about 3 days of it, and then they're just gonna be like, oh, this is crap.
Hello, we're back. Sorry about that. Episode 1, technical difficulties already. We'll get through it. We will. But yeah, we were at the end of Hogwarts conversation anyway. I think we were both under the same.
It was stress.
Yeah, I think we're under the same. What's the word? Same
Decision and
decision
agreement
of
that
mate. We'll wait till people have played it and see what it's. I'm more of a 30 quid kind of guy. We'll see what it's like. But you never know. It could come on, on Friday, and I'll be watching someone stream it and be like, I rate when I play this, and I'll buy it at 60 quid. Do you know what I mean? So we'll see. Sometimes games get you like that. Do you know what I mean? I remember fucking Mass Effect Andromeda did that to me once. I weren't bothered about that game at all. And it turned out to be shit, but I was watching someone else play it, and I was like, I actually rate when I play this game, and I went and I think I traded a controller in for it. So we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, talking of games that are, still on the game front, a certain game that me and Adam were both fucking super excited for, and it's ruined my birthday plans. Star Wars Jedi Survivor. So this game was supposed to be out the day before my birthday. The day before. And I had a whole plan. Adam knows how excited this whole plan I had. And he's probably more excited for me for it being put back because he can fucking use the excuse, well, it's not your birthday anymore. Because it was... I was going to have a week off for my birthday from the day before my birthday so I could play Jedi Survivor. And nobody could say shit to me because I'm like, it's my birthday and I'm having it off for my birthday, And that was my excuse that I'm because you didn't have to go down the argument, I'm a bigger Star Wars fan than you, so I'm having it off, blah, 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 blah. Now we've got to have the argument, and I think Adam wins that argument, the wanker. So looks like everybody else is working on new Star Wars launch day. But how do you feel about it? Are you all right with it? Are you in the scope of if it needs putting back, then put it back?
Yeah, I'm in that scope. If they felt that it needed to get put back, then put it back. The reason why I agree with it is because I read a statement on Twitter from obviously Stig and the Respawn team, and basically they were just saying that it's essential because obviously they've found some bugs, glitches, and they want the game to be perfect when it gets released. And I'm happy for that because I don't want them to release it and it be like, oh, here you go, but yet they end up with like a shitty game. This can end up being like Cyberpunk. The fandom wants it out now. I'd rather take the time with it and give us something really good that we can all enjoy without any issues at all.
No, I agree. As much as it's disappointing, that it's been put
100%,
back.
Yeah.
I'm all for having a quality game when it comes out. My problem is with all these just don't announce a release date is my point. At this point, it's like I can't remember the last game that didn't get put back a bit. And as much as it's like to make the game better and what have you, just don't announce a release date until you're 100% sure that is going to be the release date. Because I think that's what's hurting the gaming community at the moment. Everything. There's been 2 games already this year that I've been hyped for, and they've both been put back, and it's disappointing. Whereas, the other one, day before, kind of, up until like last night, I was very apprehensive about actually coming out, but they released a gameplay trailer for it last night. So I do believe the game is now actually real, for the day before. So, but that's a completely different podcast. We'll talk about that on something else. We will, because I could rant on about that for fucking hours. But Star Wars for me, it's like, it's bittersweet, It's bitter that, it's not coming on the 17th, but it'll come and hopefully it'll be worth the wait, because I love the first one, so I'm super hard. I'll just have to have a week off in April instead. I'm sure it'll be amazing, and I'm sure it's needed. I don't think Respawn are the type of... I don't think Respawn have ever put a game back, have they? I don't think they ever put Titanfall back. I don't think the original... I don't think the other Star Wars ever got put back, and... Me personally, I don't think Respawn have done a bad game. I love Titanfall 1. Titanfall 2 is one of the most underrated storylines to ever hit a game. Like, that game is incredible. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is incredible. Love that game. It brought us Cal Kestis, which is, I'd never thought I'd do that, Yeah, so, and then, so I've got big hopes. I put my trust in Respawn with that. I do. As much as, I'm fed up of games getting put back. And we work in the gaming industry, let's say. I know we only sell the games, but we're at the fucking brunt of it, you know. We're the ones that get the people coming back in. This Cyberpunk shit, I want my money back. Well, I mean, it don't work like that, but you know, still, you know. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, so staying on the Star Wars trend and introducing new characters, and this is a weird one for me. So Bad Batch.
Before we jump into Bad Batch, I
Go
have
on.
one more theory for Jedi Survivor.
Go on.
Another theory, I think, why they've delayed it till April 27th.
Is it Star Wars Celebration? It is, isn't it?
I think they're gonna have an area where you get to play the game before anybody else does. And two, I also think they may do a celebration edition. I think that's another reason why. That's the only, like, not logical, but that's the only other reason I can think of them delaying it.
So I'm glad you brought this up.
So obviously with me going for 3 days, right, I might physically be able to play it.
So that actually means I can't have them days off to play because you're already. Oh, I'm pissed, bro. I'm pissed.
Obviously, Celebration is obviously the start, whereas the game gets released like near the end.
Okay.
So I feel that they're gonna have like a running demo at Celebration where they've got obviously they've got the full game, but you can have like a slotted time. Say for example, 45 minutes. You go in, you pay so much, you're there playing game for 45 minutes, then off you pop, and you get some freebies.
So, out on 27th, isn't it?
Yes, it's 27th of April.
And when is Celebration's 21st, isn't it?
So, no, I think it's near the start. I think it's the... Let me have a quick look. I'm sure Celebration is 7th to the 10th of April.
Okay, so, right, okay, fair enough. But I'm glad you bring this up. So, I saw some stuff on Twitter, and people are saying that there is no bugs and fixes to fix. They're just launching it then because it makes it the hype around Star Wars is higher, which makes sense.
It'll be down to Celebration.
It makes sense. It does, but
it's gonna be why they're doing it.
Is that's just lying to your consumers at that point? Because 17th doesn't seem like a bad time to bring it out either, because Mando's running at the same time, and it's going to be probably. I mean, it'll be the end of Mando. No, it'd be like 3 weeks into Mando. But the hype would be there for Star Wars because Mando's out, you know. And I think personally, the hype for. I think Mando brings more hype to a global audience more than Celebration does. Celebration brings hype to the Star Wars fans but my mum doesn't know Celebration's running when that drops. Do you know what I mean? So it'd make more sense to bring it out while Mando's out, which I think the original thing was. So it's disappointing, but it is what it is. So, but yeah, Bad Batch. I know you're a big fan of Bad Batch.
I am big fan of Bad Batch, big fan of Clone Wars, Rebels, Resistance. I'm just a big fan of the Star Wars animation. It's so good, sleek, on point. I can never put an error to it. So my review on it so far is I'm absolutely loving it. There's been my 2 favorite episodes so far was obviously this week's and the week that we had Cody and Crosshair together. Yeah. Honestly, some of the best things that's happened has been in those 2 episodes, in my opinion. The other episodes have been really good, like storytelling, filling in the gaps on like characters, giving them more character depth, you know, and obviously giving them like scenes together that we haven't seen before. So like prime example would be in Wrecker, Crosshair, and Omega. They were obviously on the that race, the like pod racing, that racing planet.
I just don't get I like Bad Batch. I don't know if it's the characters for me. They just don't. And we're recording. We're back again. Adam's headset is piece shit, and we're gonna have to buy him one. So we're gonna have to get him a new headset. But yeah, I just don't know if it's the characters for me. Like you said, you get the Wrecker Omega stuff, but I just felt like I was watching Phantom Menace again when I watched that episode. I think the 2 episodes that
Yeah.
you talk about, the only 2 good things that have happened is Cody turning up for an episode and Gunji turning up for an episode.
Gunji.
But then that also brings a negative for me at the same time because
Alright. Are you worried that Gunji is gonna get?
no, it's just the fact that all these Order 66 killed all these Jedi, and then there seems to be fucking thousands of them rocking about. You know what I mean? Like, because I have a big issue with where the fuck were you when everybody was fighting Empire? You sat hiding away, doing fuck all. When my boy Luke was struggling, you know what I mean? And there's about fucking 10 Jedi out there. Like, it even pisses me off with Ahsoka. I'm like, Ahsoka, what the fuck were you doing when Luke was fighting fucking Empire? Because you were fighting your old master and you didn't do fuck all. Winds me up. It does. And you know how much I love Ahsoka. Like, genuinely fucking... Like, she didn't even turn up for fucking Obi-Wan's fucking death. Like, it's not like you didn't know him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
they trained together, went through everything.
they went through a lot together. Like, I'm just saying, like, every bit of selfish Jedi's out there is all I'm saying. Like, unless every fucker died literally 3 seconds before A New Hope started, like, well, we know Ahsoka doesn't because obviously she's in Mando, so it just winds me up a bit. But I do love Gunji. His little tooth, mate, fucking cute as fuck. So, but yeah,
his lightsaber. His lightsaber is sick.
Yeah, his lightsaber is sick. To be fair, just for me, Bad Batch. I don't think that I fell in love with the characters as much as I did like Rebels, for instance.
So I think it's a little slower in my opinion to obviously Rebels. I mean, maybe not Rebels actually, because that's the first 2 seasons of that were quite
slow. Yeah.
And it was something that I enjoyed because I just stuck with it.
I just think there's. Go on. Sorry.
Sorry. So I think with Bad Batch is just that because we just set on like one bunch of characters, whereas obviously with Rebels we sort of knew where the end result was going to have to go at some point.
Yeah.
Because in the middle of the the eruption of the Empire sort of thing. So it was like, well, we knew what the end result is. It's just to fill in this, to give us another story of another person's concept of the Empire taking over.
Is that not the same for Bad Batch though? Because we know where the end result's going. You know, like I would love to see the Bad Batch join the rebellion. Like I think that's the way that it should go. Personally,
I think what's going to happen with it is I think Crosshair's going to come to terms with what he's done's wrong. He's either going to take a bullet for the team, and when the Empire try to take a massive blow at the Bad Batch, I think he's going to take the hit. Or I think, if anything, they're all going. If I know there's 3 points, either they'll all take the hit together and they'll go out as a team, like brothers, like they keep saying they all are. Or what will happen is they'll end up going off into the sunset, all happy.
Maybe I think that. Do you think Cody joins them?
I don't know.
With Echo,
his thing is changed from Legend. His backstory's all changed. So I don't know. It just makes it. I hope so. But
so in the episode of Rebels, Rex is on his own, isn't he? Yeah.
It's Rex, Wolf, and Gregor.
Right. Okay. So
Gregor is a clone commander, which we saw in season 1.
You can't even have Cody join up with Rex. Do you know what I mean? Which is what I would have wanted to see. Personally, Rex and Cody back together. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It is. We'll see. I've got hope to see where it goes. I find that like Bad Batch season 1, it started so strongly. Like the fucking first, the Order 66 scene is so good. It is, but then I just think it declines so much, and I don't know. I don't like Omega. I fucking don't like her. I seriously, I don't like the accent. I don't like the look. I don't like the character, and I feel like the way that they're going with the character, I don't like it. I think personally she's got midichlorians in it, and she ties into the cloning process of that's probably of the Snoke shit. I genuinely think that's the way they go, because obviously they're all defunct. They've been splicing genes with the Bad Batch and shit like that. I genuinely think that's the way that they're going. It makes sense as to where Star Wars is as a whole with the cloning, and Mando even using Grogu for Metachlorians and shit like that. You know, I genuinely think that's, and I don't like that. I think there's, because that just adds another Jedi into the world. That what were you doing? You know, unless you're gonna give me an actual story that makes sense as to where you were at this pivotal time in Star Wars. Like, because the New Hope, let's be honest, so from the end of the Battle of Endor, that is how we separate timelines, before the Battle of Endor and after the Battle of Endor. So it's the most pivotal time in Star Wars history, yeah. What the fuck were these Jedi doing? And I get that you were in hiding and blah, 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 but surely if you was, like Ahsoka, for instance, she joins the Rebel Alliance as Fulcrum. So what were you doing at this point? You know, it needs, and that's what scares me. And I don't know if it's just me, but it scares me enough to say that these storylines have got to be that good for me to accept where you were and why you wasn't in this most pivotal battle of all time. It's weird. It's a weird one. It is, but I hope it goes down the road. I just, you know. I just think Bad Batch was a weird one for me. It were.
Like I say, it is an odd one for him to do, because it's literally, again, like I say, like a bit at the minute. It's sort of like a bit of a copy and paste from Rebels. So it's like we know what's going to end. There's an end result. We know where it's going. So I think, if anything, I think they will end up doing 4 seasons just like Rebels.
Yeah.
And then I think
On something
after
new.
that, yeah, we'll end it, and it'll be, hopefully that'll then lead into something which will then tie that together, and we can then pull that to one side. And it can be then something that can just sit on that mantelpiece as a Star Wars, part of the Star Wars history, and be like, you know what, I watched that and stuff like that. You know, exactly like Rebels, basically, in a nutshell.
I mean, one good thing that come from Bad Batch and Cody turning up is these Lego helmets that fucking have been announced. Rex and Lego helmet. They did that, the Black Series one as well, didn't they? They just announced that. So, I mean, that's money coming out of pocket straight away. As soon as I saw the Cody, I'm not too bothered about the Black Series one, but as soon as I saw the Lego Cody and fucking Rex, I'm like, take my money.
It's mental, man, honestly. Like, 'cause it was Rex, Cody, and is it Bosch, which is obviously the
the layer bout. I'm not too bothered about that. So my argument is, like, a lot of people get
not much release with it though.
Yeah, proper weird.
Oh no, it's not actually. It's just came to me. Return of the Jedi. It'll be the 20th anniversary.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Jedi. And the reason why they've brought out the clone trooper ones is because that's the 20th anniversary for
the Clone Wars. Yeah, it makes sense. It does.
Sense. Yeah,
but
it makes sense.
So a lot of people are like, so me, I know you're a big collector and like must have every single one. But for me, like them two, I've not got any of the Lego helmets. Nice. And the reason I've not got any of them is because I don't want to buy. My problem is with collecting Star Wars content. Is why I don't collect Star Wars pops anymore. Is there's just way too many, you know. And I don't want to go down, like, a lot of people go down that Lego helmet route as I've got to have every single Lego helmet. Whereas now, because they've got 2 clone troopers and it's Rex and Cody, I can just get them 2 and me feel complete. Do you know what I mean? And not have to buy every single Lego helmet. So it's like, yeah, I feel complete with them 2. I do.
Yeah, I mean, going back to the Black Series helmet stuff, it's it's a hit and miss with them, because like I found over the years with the Black Series stuff is it's some of it looks really good and some of it doesn't. Like, we obviously got one, we got the from Mando.
Yeah.
And obviously it's good. I'm not gonna say it's not. It's very good. But again, when you look at it, a Stormtrooper is not that clean.
No,
obviously bits of dirt on it and stuff like that. So you expect a bit of like a bit of blackness around it, just to give it that scruffy looking sort
Yeah.
of thing. Obviously, the chip marks on the paintwork is phenomenal. I don't mind that. That's what I expect. But again, going back to the new one that's getting released, it's the Scout Bike helmet, and again, it's got the flip lid, it's got the chin strap, and it's actually got foam padding compared to all these others at the minute that we've had. Just hasn't had any foam padding on the inside.
Yeah.
So at least there's an improvement with them compared to obviously
Older
with
stuff.
the figures, because obviously, as everybody knows, the figures are just copy and paste.
Yeah. Well, talking of helmets, let's go into because he's not far away. He's only 27 days away, and he wears an iconic helmet. Mr. Mandalorian season 3. Are we excited for it? Have you gone again?
Oh, my headset.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yep, can hear you.
Yeah. So yeah, again, we're back again. Adam's bloody headset. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
But yeah, talking of helmets, a special helmet, a very notable helmet, Mando season 3. Are we? He's only 27 days away, mate. I'm so excited for fucking Mando. I genuinely, this is what I've been waiting for. Of all these Star Wars shows that I enjoy, like Boba Fett, Andor, which was incredible. Obi-Wan, which I were a bit disappointed in, personally. It were good, but I don't think it were as good as we could have had it, if that makes sense. But Mando, for me, is the one that's got me, like...
So...
It grips me.
Not a grime, but what I want to know the most, which is really getting at me now, is I want to know who the hell Christopher Lloyd is playing. Who is he playing? Like, the guy is really old, but who is he playing? I want to know. It's so frustrating. I've got it in my head as a fan fiction that he's playing Chuffing Prime Minister Almec, but by this time he's probably dead.
Probably.
So the only other character that I can think of is just a really old Corky.
Yeah, I mean, you keep saying this to me, right? You keep saying who is Christopher Lloyd playing? Who's Christopher Lloyd? And you kept saying this when Obi-Wan got announced and O'Shea Jackson were announced, and you're like, who's going to be? He's just going to be random character. I'm telling you, he's literally just going to be a random character. I think you're getting your hopes up. I think you want him to be like an old fucking Liam Neeson or something, and fucking Qui-Gon Jinn's in there or something. I feel like he's just going to be John who works in a bar. Just like O'Shea Jackson were. Like,
he's going to be the barman in the droid bar.
Yeah, which brings me to my point of don't just sign random. Not random, like, you've got amazing actors that can do such amazing roles in your Star Wars universe, and you're just using them for shit. Yeah. Like, O'Shea Jackson could have played something so great. Do you know what I mean? And you've just, wasted
his talent.
Yeah. But Mando, I don't want to get too much into Mando because I don't want to spoil anything. I don't want to get into, do you know what I mean? Like, I kind of don't want to get hopes up and it be disappointing. I kind of just want to leave it as I'm fucking hyped for it, and I'll just leave it at that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
I just want to see. I just want to see Bo-Katan. I'm not gonna lie, just Bo-Katan.
Yeah. Come on, Katie Sackhoff, get in there. but yeah. So I think everyone is hyped for Mando. I don't think there's many people that are into Star Wars that are not hyped for Mando, and I feel like I've got no gripes for where the story's going to go. I'm intrigued. I kind of want to see where it goes. It's kind of like you know where it's going, but I'm excited to see where it's going, if that makes sense. So we'll see. So the offer Star Wars content, and probably the biggest content that's out at the moment is, and we'll this podcast is nearly over. We've been going over an hour, but we'll talk about it. Last of Us.
So good.
I genuinely can't think of a TV show that I think I don't.
It's done so well.
Yeah.
The acting is on point. Like they've done such a damn good job. It's unreal.
Yeah, and I genuinely, I feel like deep down in myself a little bit because I think Last of Us, the game, is personally overrated.
Yeah, because they've done it that many times now. It's just like, well, I've already played it. Why do I need to play it yet again?
I don't even think it's that. I just think personally, like the story is incredible, but people always go on like it's the best thing since sliced bread. Is it?
Really not.
Do you know what I mean? Is it really? Because I don't think it is. But I think the TV show is better than the game.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Like I say, like it's definitely, in my opinion, it's definitely by far the best video game adaptation that they've done, easily for me.
Let's not put the disrespect on Sonic the Hedgehog movies because I don't know.
It's not the thing with the Sonic ones is it's not directly from that.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
The Last of Us is literally they've taken it and they've gone, right, so here we go. We're going to follow the storyline from the video game. We may divert from here to there, take stuff out and replace it with something else.
Yeah.
Even though they have done with certain things, especially on was it the last episode of The Last of Us that they diverted it a little bit with the two characters. I can't remember the name.
Bob and Frank. Is it Frank? Yeah, Frank.
Yeah.
Is it Frank?
Bill and Frank, innit? Yeah.
Bill and Frank, not Bob and Frank. Bob, I don't know where Bob come from. Bill and Frank. Yeah, but the Bill and Frank episode, I had a gripe with it though. So, what's his name? The actor that plays Bill.
The guy from Parks and Recreation.
So when he turns up, and this is just me, but all I hear him say is, "I want all the bacon and eggs you have." And then that scene from Parks and Rec just pops in my head every time I see him because that fucking scene is incredible. And I couldn't take it seriously at first, but it took like 5 seconds for me to go, you know what, this guy can fucking act, and they've chose someone perfect for Bill. They have. That episode was incredible. Absolutely incredible. It, like, the emotions that were running through me all the way through that episode were just like, bravo. And it makes me excited for Monday to see more. I'm just expecting it to decline, and it keeps going. Like, what did I say to you after episode 1? Like, is it gonna stay where it is, or is it gonna increase? And I said I feel like it's going to decline. Everything's going to have been put into episode 1, and then it's going to slow. But it's not. It's just gone uphill from there. And I'm that much of a I don't think I'm a pessimistic person, but I'm being very pessimistic and going, is it just going to dip in quality? But I don't see it happening.
Yeah,
I don't.
I think now we're 3 episodes in, and at the minute it's absolutely phenomenal in my opinion. Like I said, for me anyway. It's definitely the best video game adaptation.
Yeah, I think it's probably the best TV show I've seen in a long time. Since I mean, I loved obviously Game of Thrones and stuff like that. I love Game of Thrones, and I loved House of Dragon. I thought House of Dragon was better than Rings of Power personally, but I can't remember a TV show that's had everyone as hyped. And I think I can. I think Game of Thrones was the last one that did it, that had as people as hyped as what Last of Us is. Like, everybody's talking about it. Everybody's got positive stuff to say about it. And I think future TV programs that come out that are not Last of Us take note.
Yeah, exactly. I think they've got to, because look at how well it's done.
Yeah.
Like, that alone should tell them.
Really. Like something that. So I don't know if you watched the Halo TV show.
I haven't, but I've got Paramount.
It's bad, and it's a prime example of you don't need to change the source material for it to work. Do you know what I mean? And so many video game things do this, and I don't get why. Because we clearly buy the video game because we love the story. And we just want to see that story portrayed. And you can change things, but change things that don't matter. Like, like you don't change the concept of the story. Like Resident Evil did it, and they did it. Like I know people like the first films with Mila
Yeah.
Jokovic, and I don't mind them, but you know if them films weren't called Resident Evil, they'd be sick action films. Do you know what I mean? But the fact that they're called Resident Evil, the Resident Evil film, why have you taken the premise of Resident Evil and changed it so much? The games clearly sell that much that we love these characters and these storylines, and Last of Us have gone, you know what? We've got a fucking winner here. Everybody loves fucking Joel, Ellie. They love the story. Let's make the story, change things that make sense to change, and that's it. You know,
Yeah.
it doesn't affect the whole grand story of the fucking show or the game, whatever. It and it's what you wanted to see. You wanted to see this on the big screen, and that's what you're going to get. You know, I don't get why these companies do that. I genuinely, it blows my mind. It does.
It doesn't make sense, like you say, when there's a solid story there, you just follow it in, like say, change little tad bits here, there, and
Yeah,
everywhere. It's not gonna hurt.
it's
It's
like
really
you.
picking
It's like you
certain
go in. I've got a surefire $1 million project here. Oh, let's turn it into a five. Do you know what I mean? Let's just make it.
yeah.
Let's make it. It's guaranteed to work if you just leave it as it is.
I can't remember what the saying is, but and I think it's something like, "Don't change." What is it? I can't remember, but there's a saying that it basically just covers what you've just
Yeah,
said.
just
Like, don't
there's
change.
no.
You know, you've already got it. You've
Yeah,
got what's good. If you don't change, if you're gonna change
you've
it, change little bits that aren't gonna care as much.
you've got guaranteed success on your hands. So why are you changing stuff? It's like, hello, that's my dog.
Hmm.
It's like I go back to Star Wars, and it's like we've been anchoring for an Old Republic TV show for so long. Why has it not come? They know for a fact it'd fucking sell. How many people have gone? You remember them Knights of Old Republic game cutscenes that we've got that have got fucking nearly 90 million views on YouTube combined throughout YouTube?
Absolutely.
Why are we not just making a TV show based on that? They clearly want to see it.
Yeah.
Why are we doing all this other stuff like Visions, for instance? Like, don't get me wrong, I didn't like Visions.
I didn't mind it. It was something different, something fresh to the Star Wars universe,
But to
which
me,
is what we need to try and get obviously people
yeah,
in. But again, I understand why people don't like it because some people are just they like what we've had, and obviously sometimes having stuff different can obviously make a big impact because like it can affect a lot of people, which then in turn can then obviously turn people can be like, well, don't really want to watch Star Wars anymore. If this is what they're gonna start putting out.
but Visions
Which
to
I can
me,
understand it.
so Star Wars to me is about like knowing your Star Wars characters and there being a bigger history there and everything being
Yeah.
intertwined. Whereas Visions takes away from that personally, because
Yeah.
it's 10 minutes of this character that I'm never going to see ever again. You know, and I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to do a what if style Star Wars,
Yeah.
but with Marvel. The beauty of Marvel is as a Marvel fan, you know that there is multiple universes where this exists. So yeah, fair enough. It didn't happen in the main 616 universe, but it's happened and it's got potential to come back to it. Like Marvel Zombies, for instance. They did the zombies episode, but we knew that there were a zombies film coming or an actual TV show. So we're going to go back to this Tony Stark and this Captain Scarlet Witch. Do you know what I mean? Whereas that doesn't happen in Star Wars Visions. It's like we've got this guy that we're on a fucking ship that had fucking 4 arms with a lightsaber. Don't get me wrong, the fight was cool, but then I'm never going to see it again. Like it's got no impact on Star Wars whatsoever. So that's my problem with Visions. I'll watch it, but I'm never going to be like Visions is incredible. I would much rather see a season 2 of Tales from the Jedi or whatever it were called. Like I much preferred that concept of the short 14-minute episodes of one, because it was kind of the grow up of. I know it started with Qui-Gon, but it's kind of the grow up of into Ahsoka. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. So I love that concept. Give me more of that. Do an Obi-Wan one. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like Obi-Wan as a Padawan.
Yes.
We get to see Obi-Wan with Qui-Gon. Do you know what I mean? Get to a Mace Windu, a Yoda. Like you can explain so much in a short amount of time, whereas Visions just gives no context to the universe whatsoever.
Yeah. Just get an episode that's just chucked out. It's just one set of
Yeah,
characters. You're never gonna see him again.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like in Visions. There's one episode where the girl she goes to the tribe. I can't remember the episode, and then she does the fucking where she pulls the saber out and just kills the person. What? That's such a good episode. I can't remember. I think it's like
Yeah.
episode 7 or something like that. Such a good episode, and that's the only character that I kind of went. I'd like to see more of her, but you're never gonna see more of it. That's the problem with it because it's set in a world that doesn't exist. It's set in a Star Wars world that doesn't exist. You know what I mean? Which is, unfortunately. But I'll watch it. It's Star Wars content in it. We've gone back to Star Wars even while we were watching while we were on about Last of Us. That's going to be a problem with this fucking podcast. It is. But yeah, Visions. I mean, I'm excited for it. It's Star Wars content. It is what it is. I'd rather have something else. I'd rather, like I say, I'd rather have more Tales of the Jedi. That'd be
Yeah.
because I think that
Definitely.
fleshes out Jedi way more. Like you could even do like Kit Fisto. You could, do you know what I mean? Like because
So much.
yeah,
Like,
and it's content that's about the same as Visions,
yeah, exactly. It's
but
just
it gives
like absolutely
context
built. Yeah.
that you already know and you'd like to learn some more about. 5 episodes of, and you can do it in the same premise as what you've just done it. Like, I'm pretty sure Yoda fucking he trained like fucking pretty much all the Jedi. Do you know what I mean? How many fucking
Yeah, he's got
Padawans did
all
he
of
have?
them.
Do you know what I mean? So you could do so much, and then I'd also love to see. I want this fucking the Galactic. Is it the Galactic Republic? The stuff before Phantom Menace. The books
High
that the
Republic.
High Republic. I want
High
some
Republic.
High Republic era stuff because
Yeah.
that's kicked
We need
off.
something
That's
like that.
that's blown up in the comics. It has, and everybody's loving it. Right, give us content now. Stop going to the future. Like I get that we need to see some of the future stuff, but the future stuff clearly didn't work. A lot of people didn't like the Ray shit, and I've heard that there's inklings of a new film coming out after.
So, so what you're on about is essentially Daisy Ridley has come out and she says that she'd love to carry on playing
Yeah,
the character
I
of
don't want to
Ray in
see
the
any more
future.
Ray. I don't. No, I didn't like her. I'm sorry, and it's not you. It's not. I just didn't like the character Ray. I
Yeah,
didn't connect with it.
understand.
I like Force Awakens. I think that's the only. I and I'm not. I know some people like Last Jedi, and I can see why people like Last Jedi because it does go down a route that's different. And I came out at cinema of Last Jedi and went, "Fucking incredible, best Star Wars film I've ever done." Then I tried watching it again, and I got 40 minutes through, and I've only ever watched that film once and an extra 40 minutes on top. I can't watch it. I just genuinely don't like it. Rise of
It's not
Skywalker
everyone's.
is fan serviced to the max. I can watch it, but I watch it as an action film rather than a Star Wars film. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
Do you get what I mean? It's got enough action in it to go. I can sit down and watch that. You know.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So
yeah,
I just don't want to see Daisy Ridley as. I don't care about your story. I just genuinely don't care because they fucked it up that much.
yeah.
But that's because of Force Awakens onwards, in my opinion.
Well, the thing is with that though is the fact that the thing that's annoying with the fact that it's flopped so much is that if they would have literally just followed what George said, because there was a tweet the other day that somebody had put. There's no saying that this is true or not, but if it is, then this is a bit ridiculous. But there was a tweet the other day that basically said it was a screenshot from George Lucas saying that basically, he gave him his script for episodes 7, 8, and 9,
which he'd had
and then
written
9.
since.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. It was already written. It was there for him to literally just follow it, and it'll give you guaranteed success.
Yeah,
Look at episodes 1 to 6,
yeah.
guaranteed success. And they said, no, I don't want to do it. We're going to do
No,
it our own way. Fair enough. I get it. You own it. You want to do it your own way. Fair enough. For crying out loud, don't then fucking bitch
bitching
about
about it.
people
Yeah.
fucking complaining about it
So
when the
the
script was written for you.
that's it. The 3 projects that you've done that have got nothing to do with either George Lucas, and I'm not saying that he writ Mando and all this shit, but who did Mando? Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. Yeah. That have been influenced by who so much? Oh, wait, George Lucas. So the 3 things that you've done that have not been influenced by George Lucas have been the 3 things that Star Wars fans didn't like. It tells you everything you need to know. From now on, the things that you need to do that are Star Wars, and you need to do it in the style that Marvel have done it, and in the style that DC are now doing it, is you have Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau as your main 2 people that then spread the work out. Anything that is Star Wars goes through them 2, and that is the final. That, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Especially Dave Filoni. I genuinely believe in everything that Dave Filoni does. Like,
yeah, he's had so much input on.
I genuinely believe he has Star Wars at his best interest. And Kathleen Kennedy, I don't feel like Star Wars is safe under Kathleen Kennedy at all. Genuinely.
I think
she's got a best interest at heart, but she just ain't got a fucking clue what she's doing.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best way around. I mean, again, going back to the whole sequel thing, I mean, I don't have nothing wrong with them myself, but it's like, I do understand why people don't like them. Like, I generally get it. But again, like I say, with Dave Filoni, though, it's like, look what he's written. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's episodes of, like, Mando and Rebels and the Clone Wars and Resistance and everything else he's done that people don't like, which, fair enough.
It's not all great, don't get me wrong, but, I mean,
exactly.
it's all...
Don't you?
It's all succeeded, though.
To make the overall greatness,
yeah,
there's got to be some form of crapness in there.
Like, if you take all that Star Wars content and you go, right, what's the stuff that's succeeded? So Boba Fett succeeded. I know people had some gripes with it, but as an overall, I feel like it was more positive than negative. Mando was highly positive. Obi-Wan, positive, more than negative. Andor, highly positive. Rebels, positive. Clone Wars, positive, the final season. And then you take the shows that have been, the things that have been negative about Star Wars, the 3 films.
Yeah, that's right.
And then you look at who was in charge: Kathleen Kennedy, Dave Filoni. It tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, it's not good when you see stuff like that. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I say, there's gonna be crappiness in no matter what you watch. Like, obviously, Dave had some form of input in Rise of Skywalker, but it wasn't. I don't think he was all that. Like,
Did he though?
Yeah, I don't think it was massive though. I think he only had literally a little bit of an input. I'm sure of it. I'm sure it's on the end credit scene somewhere.
I don't know. We'll have to look it up. But saying that, we are at nearly 2 hours for this first podcast. So yeah, it's a long one. I think we're at an hour and 45 minutes. So first episode special, let's just say. Next episode won't be as long. I think we're just trying to get into it. We've got mad into a groove there about talking, and there's been some technical difficulties, so cutting it, but yeah, it's been an hour and 45, so I think we'll leave it at that. And yeah, I've enjoyed it. It went a lot better. Yeah, when you go on tangents, that's a beautiful thing about a podcast, That's when you know it starts working. So I'm happy. We'll obviously, like I say, we'll be doing more content other than just a podcast. We'll be doing trailer reviews, trailer reactions, watch-alongs. I know we talked a lot of Star Wars in this one, and I think it's because it's the first one. But what we'll probably try and do is just do a Star Wars episode every week, and that's it. But yeah, other than that, I'll put all our socials down below because I think Adam's headset's gone again. So I'll put all the socials down below. And then where you can find us, we'll be on Spotify, we'll be on YouTube. Go and follow us on Twitter, all the jazz. I'll put Adam's Twitter down below as well. Mine's at iBalo. I do stream on Twitch as well if you want to come over there. Same, iBalo. Everything will be in the description below, and we'll see you next week on the new podcast and probably even some other episodes as well. I'll see you. Peace.
Bye.